Welcome to the May Experience podcast. I am May, and y'all, it feels good to be back. I have missed you guys so much, but I've been so busy. So right now, what I have going on right now, I am a sole proprietor. I'm a businesswoman, but I also work. So I've been having a lot going on. One of my businesses, it's not necessarily a business because it's a nonprofit, but I'm running it like a business. So I guess it is, yeah. But it's a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 tax exempt nonprofit. It's called Estelle May Foundation, and we are tax exempt. So if you'd like to donate, but right now we're in the middle of our 6th annual blanket drive. So like in 2019, I moved to Atlanta at the beginning of the year. 2018, I left Alabama, moved to Atlanta. And when I moved to Atlanta, I started seeing a lot of homelessness. You know, growing up, I saw homelessness. But when I moved to Atlanta, it was just on another level. It was a different ball game. And this was my second time staying in Georgia. I stayed in Georgia back in probably like 2012, 2013. But we were in Jonesboro. My son and I, we stayed with my brother. And so we moved back in 2019, beginning of the year, due to certain situations or whatever. I wanted to move and get away and clear my head. And it was just like the homelessness was so crazy. Like my son and I was working at a school, at an elementary school in Atlanta. My son was going to a school across the street from the neighborhood we stayed in. We stayed off of Campbellton Road. And so he went to a decent school over there. I actually liked that school. And then I worked at a school around the corner. And on our way out in the mornings, it was just like so many people out sleeping on the curbs, sleeping on benches. I'm talking about everywhere. We'll get out on the weekends, at nights. It was just people sleeping everywhere. It was unbelievable. Like I've never seen anything like it before. So I was telling my son, like, we need to do something to help. It's sad. You know, he was like, yeah, mom, it is sad. We're going to the mall one day. At the Greenbrier Mall. We used to go there. I like that mall too. It's a hood mall too, but I like it. They had good food and they got urban clothing, stuff like that. So, and we're like, we gotta start helping. We need to find a way to give back. And mind you, I'm working 2 jobs. I worked at a school in the morning part-time. Then I worked the after-school program after that, over in Smyrna. And so yeah, never been rich or anything, you know, but I do have a heart to give back because I know how it feels to have hard times. I don't know how it feels to be homeless, but I cannot even imagine, you know. So with that, when we stayed in Atlanta about a year. When we came back to Alabama, it was really cold in November, which is my birthday month. I'm a Scorpio. My birthday is Monday, November 10th. But it was like around Thanksgiving. It was really cold outside. I'm talking about like a freezing, bitter cold. And I'm like, Carter, my son named Carter, I'm like, we need to do something. We need to try to give some blankets. You know, we've been saying we're going to do that. Like, let's try to give some blankets or come up with something for those in need, like some socks, anything. So he was like, all right. I'm like, word. I was like, what can I do? I said, okay, what I'm gonna do is go on Facebook, because I really wasn't active on Facebook. I always been the type that I'll post every once in a while because I don't like to be seen like that, you know. And so I got on Facebook and I just started asking my Facebook friends. I was like, will y'all donate blankets so that we can give them to the homeless? And the love and the outpouring support, it was crazy because I was just jumping out there trying something. And people donated. And what I did was I got up one morning and just started handing them out. I went to a soup bowl, or I'll be driving around even to this day at a gas station, and I'll give these blankets out. And so now we're 6 years in. Last year, August 2024, the IRS, they granted us tax exempt. So we are tax exempt. So if you donate, all your donations are tax exempt. We're still taking donations for the blanket drive. We're also taking donations for the general fund as well. Like we recently gave away, we had people reach out to us. They were like, they know a little boy that needed clothing. I was like, well, we can donate a jacket. We've given out two $50 food vouchers due to the government shutdown and SNAP benefits stopping. These funds that I get from the community, because more so now I'm taking financial donations since I am a 501c3 and I don't have anywhere to house a lot of things. Like at home, I have a small spot that I house things. And so yeah, that's what I'm working on now. So I've been really busy with that. Anytime it's time for the blanket drive, y'all, it gets real hectic in my life and real busy because it takes a lot of mental preparations. And also, I'm not the type to like to ask for nothing. Like, people always ask me for stuff though, but I'm just not big on asking. Now, it's certain people I will ask for stuff, but I'm not big on just, so it takes a lot to be out on the news, radio station and all that, asking for donations. And so now I'm looking for some donors. So if y'all know anyone that would like to donate, anyone that may be in tax debt and they need to lower their tax bill, you can file these on an I-9 or a Schedule C to get these to help with your tax bills, to donate. Any businesses, any millionaires, spread the word. And like I said, we're taking donations all year round. And so you can see right here, this is my let me let y'all see. I got some blankets made with the Estelle May Foundation on it, which is my logo, our logo for the Estelle May Foundation for the nonprofit. So yeah, I always have my hands into some things. Like, I got some other things I'm working on too. So I'm always got my hands into some things just to see what's gonna stick and what's gonna pop. And then we have the May Experience podcast. Okay, y'all, so what I've been doing lately too, I've just been working on myself and just really finding my niche to get back into it, into life. I was recently divorced for the second time. And that's what a lot of I want to talk about today is, what do we feel is like when it comes, I guess, women and maybe even men as well. Do you feel that men that come from single parent households or men that come from dual parent household make better husbands or make better fathers? So that's what we're gonna dive into a little bit. And so I'm gonna need y'all participation with commenting. Give me some good insight where I can follow back up on this. If I can start getting more insight, and I can follow back on some things. I can start doing this live and we can do Q&As. We can do more interacting with one another. But okay, so y'all know I like to start off always with reading. So we're gonna switch it up today. Let me tell y'all, I told y'all I be studying. I like to read, but I like to have a physical book when I read, right? So I am a Christian. I feel like there's only one God. Your beliefs are your beliefs. I'm not gonna not talk about God, because I know everyone had their own beliefs. So what I'm not gonna do is not talk about God. Like Nicole Walters, I always read her books, say, if I don't speak on him, he's part of my journey. That's part of my journey. I had God in this journey, so it's no way that I just really can't talk about him, So I have been studying, because it's different religions and people have their different beliefs and what they believe in. And so I don't feel like, if it's only one God, I feel like the word is the word, so your interpretation may be different, the way you give it, the way you receive it. But so I have some Muslim friends, right? And they've been telling me, you need to get the Holy Koran. And that's what I have. So you got the Quran and the Koran. I think this is the Koran. So this is the Holy Koran that I'm reading too. That I've been studying. And I read this to my son. I've been reading this to people because it's just my interpretation of it. And it's so insightful, and it's something I feel like it's something I can use. And I was gonna read it with y'all tonight because I feel like we need it. I feel like it's needed. And it's called, the chapter I'm reading is chapter 3. And it's the unity of life. And it talks about our higher self and our lower self. And that's why I've been telling y'all, I've been spending a lot of times with myself, being post-second divorce. I have to spend time with myself to get to know myself again. Because when you marry, you one with that person. And so you really are that person. And a lot of times as women, especially, we lose ourselves because we are that person. And so when we end up back out here by ourselves, we got to figure it out. It was a journey, y'all. But look at me now. It was a journey. So let's get to reading. It said again, Elihu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, no man live unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cords to every other living things. All living things are connected one way or another by energies, by the universe. We're all connected, whether it's plants, trees, birds, dogs, bugs, whatever. We're all living things are connected. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. I've been so big on love, like loving myself and loving other people. I feel like that's agape love. If you hear about it in the Bible, agape love is when you love people, but you're not looking for nothing in return. You know, you got some people who be like, well, I'm going to do this for them because I'm going to get this, or I'm going to... No, it's that agape love means I'm going to love you because this is what God wants. I'm going to love you genuinely. I'm going to love you open-heartedly. I'm going to love you completely. Even though I know you might not love me back. Even though I might not get it back, I'm going to love you anyway. The pure in heart. That's what I think is that agape love. They will not do unto other men what they would not have other men do unto them. There are two selves, the higher and the lower self. The higher self is human spirits clothed in soul, with soul, made in form of Allah. Made in the form of God. Like, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. We have to seek ourselves first. God is within us. We go out looking for in the world for God. God is within us. It's on us to bring it out into the world, you know. The lower self, which is the cardinal self, is the body of desires, is a reflection of higher self distorted by murky ethers of flesh. The flesh, the worldly things, those outside things. That's the lower self. It's the total opposite of the higher self. The lower self is an illusion and it will pass away. The higher self is Allah, which is God and man, and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth, the truth. The lower self is truth reversed, lies. And so is falsehood manifest. So your higher self is truth. Your lower self is lies. You know people that just lie all the time, like just lie like the sky blue green today and it's blue. Just and you got, how they say they got the white lies and the white, Yeah. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. So if the higher self is mercy, justice, love, and what's right, the lower self is completely different. It's going to be the wrong things. It's going to be hate. It's going to be misunderstanding, selfishness, being injustice. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is mother of virtues and the harmonies of life. That's where I want to be. I want to be my higher self, y'all. I had to read this because it really just, it break it down to you. Okay. The lower self is rich in promises, but poor is blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. So the lower self, it says, it's going to make you happy. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to give you riches and all that. But it's going to cause you to either die, sin. You can't sleep good at night because you ain't living right. You getting all these worldly things, but you're not getting it the right way. Right? Like, I'm breaking it down to y'all as I read it, FYI. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. So it look good to the eye. A lot of things look good to the eye, but what's on the inside? It's about getting to the inside, If you would ask what to study, I would say yourselves. And you will well have studied them. And then would ask me what to study next. I would reply, yourselves. We have to study ourselves. You know, a lot of people don't like to study themselves, which means a lot of people don't like being by themselves. They don't like chilling by themselves. They don't, yeah, I'm sorry, my camera keep going down because it's heavy on here. But they don't like chilling with themselves. They don't like being by themselves. A lot of people don't even like themselves, you know? So most definitely, you have to study yourself to know where you are. Am I in my lower self or am I in my higher self? You know, am I in my higher self or my lower self? That's why I said I had to take time to get back to myself by myself, to get to know myself again. Because you can get lost in this world. You can get lost in marriages. You can get lost in relationships. You can get lost in parenthood. The lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. If man would find his savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the Savior, love will be exalted to the throne of power. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of dark and seats the Savior, love, upon the throne. I love that reading. And I think that is just so much needed now, because I feel like we all need to know our lower and higher self, because a lot of times it's so easy to get trapped in your lower self or to fall back down to your lower self, especially when you have these things that are pleasing to the eye, or these people or things around you and the wrong people around you, to get lost and confused as to who you are and being your higher self. And it's a lot of things and devils that'll try to come around to try to trigger things in you that shouldn't be in you. And so it's always good to spend time with yourself and get to know yourself. And we have to teach that to our children as well. So I read this to my son as well, a couple of people, and we just broke it down, because, you know, all that lying and mistreating one another, you know, it's really just to a point. Somebody asked me, like, what you gonna do for your birthday? I said, I just want to be happy. Like, every year on my birthday, I was like, I just want to be happy, and I'm just really in a good place right now. Like today, I just got out, went to a couple of malls and walked around, treated myself. I went and got my engagement ring resized today and got our names taken off of it. It's just like something I've been wanting to do. Like I said, I didn't want to get rid of the ring because I worked hard for it. It's like a trophy, right? And you don't throw trophies away. So I worked hard for it. And it's my birthday, and it was just like a gift I wanted to give to myself. And I'm just in a really good place no more. I'm not mad. I'm not hurt. I'm not bitter. None of that. But what I can say is I'm going to double back to go back to our topic now. Like, what husbands, and not even just husbands, but wives, do you think individuals that come from single family homes or individuals that come from two-parent home make better spouses or better parents? When it comes to parenting, what I can say, parenting looks different everywhere. It's gonna look different everywhere because all these children are different. And we were all raised differently, and it's no handbook to parenting. You know, it's and these children, they're out in the world, at school, everywhere else, learning these behaviors from their friends and individuals. And then a lot of these teachers teaching things that probably shouldn't be taught to the children. And you got a lot of teachers sleeping with students, things like that. So parenting, when it comes to parenting, I feel like that's just one of those things we figure it out, because we have no other choice. Now, you do have some parents, like I was talking to my big mama earlier, I was telling her, you know, you got some people killing their own children. You got people swaying children to other states, doing things like that. Parenting, but majority being a parent, we figure it out as we go. Every single day look different. We figure out how we're going to get food on the table. We figure out how we're going to keep our child at home, how we're going to keep our child in school, how we're going to make sure they have clothing. So we figure these things out. But when it comes to marriage, that's a different ball game. Like, not even just marriage, just being in a two-parent home. Like, you got mom and daddy at home. They might not be married, but who makes the better spouses? Does that even matter? Just because you came from a two-parent home, does that mean you gonna continue to be married or continue to be in a two-parent home? Or just because you came from a single-parent home, you can't adjust to a two-parent home. Like, what's y'all input on that? What do y'all think? Do you think it's easier for a person that comes from a two-parent home to stay married or stay in a two-parent household for their children? Or do you think if they came from a single parent, it's just not going to work out because they don't know? And I feel like I had this conversation with someone and I was telling them, like, for me, growing up, I was in a single parent home. My dad was not around ever in my life. He may have popped up 2 or 3 times. Hey, took me grocery shopping. My senior year after high school, though, I did go stay with him for about a week. I was ready to leave. We were in Kentucky, super cold, snow, everything. So I was ready to go. I came back home. But what I can say, I was on the weekends. I spent all my weekends with my grandparents, though, either on my mom's side or my dad's side, and both sides were married. And both of my grandfathers were breadwinners. And my big mama and my grandmama, they had worked earlier in life, so now they retired or they just chilling at this point. But they making sure it's breakfast. They make sure it was food on the table. It was cooking, cleaning, all that was going on, right? But when I would go back home during the week, I'm back at this single parent household with 3 other siblings. Even though I was with my grandparents all the time, I paid attention. So I always knew I wanted to be married. I always knew I wanted a husband. I always knew I wanted that person that I'm going to grow old with. I never knew what it took. And I knew it would be a little bickering, but my grandparents weren't the type. They weren't toxic or nothing. It was like maybe a little bickering because Big Mama didn't cook yet, and she gonna get on up and cook though. But it was never nothing toxic or nothing. So I see it and okay, so that's what you do as a child. It's already clicking and that's what I want. And so, but I think one of my downfalls, like I told y'all, I've been divorced twice. And I was really scratching my face when I said, oh my gosh, I'm here again. But I think, I don't want to say I failed, because I think that was one of the hardest things for me, especially this second time. I was beating myself up because I feel like, how did I fail again? But you know what it is? I was never taught how to be a wife. I was never taught how to be a wife. How am I going to know how to be a wife if I'm never taught? You see what I'm saying? And which it's going to be trial and error. And when I tell you being married is one of the hardest things, marriage is hard. Marriage is very hard. It's not just living together at that point. Because y'all won. Y'all made a pact with God that y'all going to be one. I am you, you are me. And so now you're growing into who this person is. And as a woman, most of the time, we're supposed to follow. Because the man really not going to follow us. They're really going to think they got it all figured out. So now we got to fall into this man's head and think like him. Like when you get married, and I don't know if it's just for y'all, but it's for me, strong-minded men. My ex-husbands are strong-minded men. What they say is what goes, and that's just what it is. It ain't no... Really, especially the second one, it wasn't no if, ands, or but. If he say the sky green, the sky gonna be green that day. Real deal, right? So you really growing into this person, and so even mentally, because now I gotta think, if I don't think the same as him, we might have an issue, today. But I was never taught to be a wife, But like I said, I always knew that's what I wanted because I saw my grandparents with it, and I still want that, and I'm gonna get that, and my next husband, we're gonna grow old together. I don't care. But especially under the circumstances that I were married. I'm really not gonna get into detail with that, but I sure in the hell wasn't taught how to be a wife under the circumstances that I was married. And so I feel like the odds were just all the way against me in marriage. So that's why I asked the question, do you feel like a person who comes from a single parent household, even though my grandparents were married and I spent every weekend with them and the summer with my big mama in these married, I was never taught. When I went home, your grandparents ain't gonna sit down and tell you how to do that, which they should have, and I'm gonna talk to my big mama about that and ask her. But you know, and my mama wasn't gonna teach me. Like, she would talk about her marriage sometime, but she really didn't speak too much on my dad because it probably would have been majority negative. That's one thing I can say about my mom. She never really talked negative on my daddy, even though he wasn't there, he wasn't around. I feel like she always loved him. But and me and all three of my siblings, we had the same dad, same mom, same dad, so we all look alike. People still get me and my sister confused for some reason. And we sound just alike. But I wasn't taught to be a wife, especially under the circumstances. And my circumstances were crazy, like a roller coaster, y'all. It be going down over here. And so this goes to the next concern. So we here now. We understand that I was never taught to be a wife. A lot of times we're not taught to be a wife. A lot of time we're not taught to be a husband. We're not even taught to be parents, but we love our children. So I feel like parenting just come off naturally, even though we want to give up sometimes. It's just gonna come off naturally because you made this human being within you, and it's just a part of you, your blood streaming through this individual. But marriage is like we weren't taught how to stick it through anyway. We wasn't taught how to just follow his lead, especially when you come from like a strong mother. Like, how do you bow down to a man now? How do you open up fully to this man and let him just take the lead when you come from a strong, independent woman or a strong, independent dad from a single household? You don't know how to be open and a lot of times be caring because there was so many struggles growing up. You know, it was so many struggles growing up, so you really weren't even taught how to be vulnerable. You really don't know how to be vulnerable. You gotta, like where I come from, you just had to suck it up and be strong. It wasn't no being sad. It wasn't no being mushy, none of that. It's like you hard. You gotta be hardcore. So me, I got real tough skin. But when I'm in love, I'm in a relationship, I want to be a little mushy. I want to be soft. But and that goes both ways. A man have to let you be able to be soft. Or your partner, I don't want to be sexist. You know, your partner has to let you be soft. And women, we got to let our men be mushy and be soft sometime and open up and express themselves as well. How do we break these generational curses and barriers for our children? Drop down in the comment and tell me, what are some ways you think we can have these households last longer, these dual parent households, because two is always better than one in a household, especially with what we're going on in politically, especially with them cutting off a lot of benefits for individuals who are single parents, who may not have education, who may not have a job right now, who may be facing a hard time, who may be disabled. You know, how do we stick together and make these relationships last, these marriages last? And how do we, a lot of times it's pride, how do we set this pride aside? Like, how do we communicate these things? And I feel like with my son, I talked to him a lot about, like, the other day I had him come in the kitchen. I was like, come on in here and make this cornbread. I'm gonna teach you how to make Jiffy Mix. Jiffy Mix cornbread is good. It's only 3 ingredients. Because when you and your wife, y'all ain't finna be eating in my house every day. So I feel like, personally, we have to teach our children. I wasn't taught. We have to let our children open up to us. We have to open up to our children. We can't act like we always been perfect. I hate when I see my generation and people older talk about the younger generation when we were just as bad. We just weren't on social media. We had things going on back then. And I say we because we are all one at the end of the day. But you have females getting pregnant. Like these females, these little girls these days, they're not getting pregnant as much as females when we were younger, you know? Yeah, these kids, they do things different than we did, but we still had problems then. So I think at this point, we have to step up as parents. And even if you're not a parent, as an adult, and have these conversations with these children. And we have to come together as family unit and as a community. Like back in the day when I was younger, we could go outside. We know the neighbors next door, they're going to be watching us. We kids, everybody more so knew each other. We all made sure each other kids were good. And I feel like nowadays it's just like everybody really just for their self. I was always big on, I want a big family, I want to do family gatherings, all that. But it's like everybody only care about who at their household. I just feel like that's not fair for the upcoming generation. What y'all think? Do y'all think that's fair to just, I'm gonna worry about who in my house, you know, and that's it. I don't care what happened to nobody else. See that? That's when you working on your lower self. When you don't care about other people's well-being and love. Like, if you love people, you want the best for them. I'm not saying do everything for them, give them all your money, all this. But if you know somebody having a bad break, a bad day, and their kids acting up and they can't handle it, go help them out. Go babysit for a little while. Give them a time to relax and cool and miss mama and go back home. You know, this is what we're missing now. Nowadays, a lot of parents, they can't get that break. So they just, I don't care what you do. Just do whatever you want to do. You know, we have to, and as parents as well, we have to be able to get along and co-parent. We have to be able to co-parent with these children. You can't, like, I got a 17-year-old son. He'll be 17 in December. And so I be telling his daddy, it's a lot of things that I just don't even attempt to have talked to him about at this point, because I've never been a boy before. I've never been a man before. So it's only certain things you can talk to him about or understand. And his dad is really good on keeping me calm because he understands him more, because he was a boy before. He was like, man, I've been 16 before, you know. So we have to be able to co-parent. That's going to be one thing to show our children how to raise, even if they're not in the same household. Because everybody ain't meant. A lot of times it just happen having a child. Everybody ain't meant to be together. Everybody ain't meant to be married, you know. But I feel like every child deserves to have both parents in their house. I don't care how bad they did you, not in the house, but in their life. I don't care how bad they did you. I don't care what they said about you. Focus on your child. Pay your child support. Don't worry about what mama or what daddy gonna do with that money. Because 9 times out of 10, they done spent 10 times just as much on that child just from paying utilities and car insurance, car note, to make sure that they have to get to work. And I think that's a lot of things, like people so emotional, like in our community. Like black people, we be so emotional to the point, and I'm an emotional creature myself, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to my son, I know how to put things to the side because I have to make sure he's straight. And I'm going to make sure he's straight. And so if I have to put my emotions to the side for him to be well taken care of, to make sure his dad can do everything he can. Like I could have been so miserable in the past because of things we went through. And when I put him on child support, and what they would have probably gave me $200-300 a month, $200-300 a month for child support. And my son would have been losing out big time because I know his dad going to do more when he's able to. You know, so... or he's going to come get him. When he was younger, he went with his dad a lot when he was here. So I had to figure out which was more important. Me being mad because my heart broke, or my son having a father in his life. Because a lot of people are so petty, they'll stop the other parent from seeing the child. They'll have these nasty custody battles. Let's just take times with it. Let's put these emotions to the side. And that's what's going on in our community. And they're laughing at us. They're laughing because they know it's going to be hard for our children to climb. We're making it so hard for our children to climb because we can't even get along as adults. So we're teaching our children, when you have a baby mama, our baby daddy, then be petty. Don't let them see your child if they ain't got this money or got that. Or just not to have emotions or to hurt people. Because hurt people will hurt people. And if we're constantly hurting our children, they're going to grow up to hurt people. And I've been hurt because I know people I've been with were hurt growing up. And so I know how it feels. And I would hate for my child to take somebody through that. So I teach him. And when he gets married, I'm going to treat my daughter-in-law like my own. He going to be tired of me. You know, and that's a lot of the issue as well. Like when you're married, a lot of times what I realize is like the family of the person you married, they will come in the middle of your marriage. And people are so used to the toxicity. The person you're with can be so used to that toxicity to the point that they think it's okay. They think you're supposed to agree with it and accept it and just move past it as if it's not a constant battle, a constant fight. against each other. So, and that's another thing. When people come from these single parent households, a lot of times these mamas be latched to these boys a little too tight, where they got to realize you got to get your own man and let your son go. But a lot of women ain't gonna do that. I never want to take my son what I went through in my marriages, where the my mother-in-laws, neither one of them, we didn't have a tight relationship. And when I tell you I held these men down to the fullest, to the core, and then truth be told, I could call either one of them right now, they gonna answer the phone. But when we were married, it wasn't no I love you daughter-in-law. It was never none of that. And when I tell you I love wholeheartedly. So when you hurt me and I finally get over that hurt, it really ain't no going back. Like, and it's hard. It's going to be hard for me to trust again. So y'all, like, we got into a lot today. I spilled a lot of beans today. We had a little malfunction, but like I said, I'm getting better with the recording. I missed y'all. I want y'all to comment, give me some feedback so we can double back on this, because we need to get our Black households together, because I need help with these bills, and I'm sure y'all do too. That's the point of having that helpmate. Having a helpmate. It ain't no 50-50. It ain't no 75-25. It's we both all in. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a helpmate. I'm looking for a provider, a protector, all that. Because I know what I'm going to give. I'm looking for loyalty. I'll fall in love with you later. Because love will have you blind as a bat if that's all you focusing it on. Honestly. But what are we going to do to keep these marriages going, these relationships going, and to bring the Black household back, to bring the Black household back, especially with these political challenges we having right now. Right now, people, we feeling it with these bills and stuff. And that's just honesty. I feel like everybody feeling it, unless you really balling, and kudos to you. I ain't no hater. I'm trying to get there. But as always, I'm so glad y'all tuned in. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever it is. Give me some feedback so we can double back on this, because it's a lot to go over. It's too much to go over in one night. But I want to see where y'all headspace at. Am I overthinking it? Or is it a good point? And I feel like it's a great point. So let's double back on this. Until next time, thank y'all for joining the May Experience podcast.